My name is Oliver Calmado. I'm the principal of the International Macrobiotics School. I started studying about health and life in 1980 when I was the young age of 24. I was very inspired by macrobiotics, oriental medicine, and many other approaches to health and healing. And in the mid-1980s I started doing a lot of teaching and seeing clients, and I've ran a shiatsu school training with a 3-year course training shiatsu practitioners for 28 years, and I've also been running macrobiotic courses for the last 36 years. My aim really is to help as many people as possible, to empower as many people as possible to regain their health, to learn how to look after their health, to really get more deeply in touch with themselves on a feeling level, an emotional level, and a spiritual level, to really lead exciting, full, expressive lives. Okay, this is the first of 4 short videos which I want to make to tell you about the approach that we use in the International Macrobiotics School. And in each video I'm going to talk about a different subject. In this first video I want to talk about approaching health, looking at our health, which really means looking at ourselves in a holistic way. We are composed, we have different parts of ourselves. In this top diagram here, very common way of looking at ourselves, we have a physical body, our organs, digestion, brain, a lot of things working on a physical level. We have our emotions, which are a big part of ourselves. Some of us may be much more emotional, some of us may be much less emotional. What I've learned is that even if people are less emotional or don't show emotions more on the outside, actually they're all happening on the inside. Maybe consciously, maybe unconsciously. But our emotions are a big part of our life. Some nights for the better, when we're feeling joy and happiness and so on, and sometimes not so much for the good, when we're feeling depressed, lonely, sad, etc. Then we have the mental side of ourselves, this incredible ability to think, to work things out, to understand things, to solve problems, to remember things, to think about the future, plan for the future, etc. Very useful part of ourselves. And then the 4th part is our spirit. We are not just a physical, emotional, mental being. We have spirit within us. We come from spirit, you might say. Some people talk about this in terms of our individual soul, our soul being our individual part of spirit. Having some kind of connection to spirit, whatever form that takes, it can really vary with different people, is also a really important part of us and an important part of our health. If we look at history, around the world, people have always invested a lot of time and energy in paying attention to the spiritual side of their life. So there are these 4 different aspects of our life. What has happened a lot in European thinking in the last few hundred years, these different areas have been looked at as being very separate. Traditionally, most peoples around the world, whether you're talking about ancient Greeks, Egyptians, Middle East, Asia, Ayurvedic medicine and approach to health, Chinese medicine and approach to health, North American, South American traditions, had holistic ways of looking at ourselves, of understanding these different parts of ourselves, and very importantly how they're connected, how they affect each other, how our emotions affect our physical body, how our thoughts affect our emotions and our physical body, how our spiritual connection can have a transformatory effect on us and can definitely have physical, emotional effects, how our physical body affects how we think and our emotions, etc. Of course, we know in ourselves all these are intimately connected. But strangely, I think what's happened in European thinking in the past few hundred years, it's become very focused on the physical, and through that it's reached an amazing physical understanding of how the body and how we and the world and nature works. But it's separated off the spirit. How is our physical body and spirit connected? How is the physical body and our emotions connected? Actually, Western science, medicine is beginning to look at these things now. Thank goodness. But it has had a very separate way of looking at how we work. When I was the mere age of 24, and I got into the whole complementary medicine and alternative ways of looking at life and health, in 1980, it was thought that food really had no effect on our physical health. Can you imagine that now? Things have really changed in 41 years. But 40 years ago, it was thought, no, food doesn't have any effect on health. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, etc. No connection. So if you have those kind of health problems, just eat what you like. Now, thank goodness, particularly the last 20, 25 years, it's being realised our food has a profound effect on our physical health. Of course, this is what macrobiotics, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Greek medicine, ancient Greek medicine, many traditions have understood for thousands of years. And we're at a point in our society where we're rediscovering these things. Another way, a more esoteric way of looking at these different parts of ourselves is that they're all tangible. Most traditions around the world see that we not only have a physical body, a physical nervous system, we also are alive and working because we have a flow of energy or chi, ki, prana going through the body. And this gives us when we look at things and look at ourselves in this way, it gives us a deeper, wider understanding of ourselves. And this physical, emotional, mental, spiritual parts of ourselves are tangible, they're real, they're not just mental concepts. So we all know that we have a physical body. And it's very easy to learn to pick up energy. We do that in a lot of our classes. Nothing mysterious about this. I'm sure Western science is going to get to realizing that there's such a thing as chi and ki, and I just can't wait for the day when that happens, because we can have a unifying a lot of traditional understandings with modern Western scientific understanding. Actually, the astronomers, I think, are almost getting there. They realized that science so far has really only described being able to see 5% of what is out there. 75% is dark energy, 20% is dark matter, and they have very, very little idea of what either of those are. Well, part of that is the ki or chi, prana, which people have been feeling and realized it just exists for thousands of years. So our physical body is helped to work by a flow of energy through the body. Within this are the meridians, which are used in acupuncture and shiatsu, and this more physical type of energy extends outwards a little bit from the body. It's quite easy to feel this. Sometimes it's called the health aura. Then coming further out are our emotions. This is why if we're standing close to someone and they're feeling strong sadness, grief, joy, anger, we pick up on it ourselves. Their emotions are radiating outwards. We pick up on them in our energy body, and even without knowing, even without being able to see them, often we know what the other person is feeling. Sometimes that's pleasant, sometimes that's not pleasant, depending on what emotions they're feeling. These emotions are going all through the body, as well as extending outwards. So I'm just going to put there are our emotions. Then our thoughts. We know our thoughts are running through our nervous system. We need a good functioning nervous system to be able to think clearly, to have from memory. If we see people with dementia where the brain is degenerating, we can see that loss of memory, that loss of thinking ability happening. But thoughts also are composed of energy. And again, this is why sometimes, particularly with people we know better, someone opens their mouth to say something and we already know exactly what they're going to say. Because thoughts, first of all, there's the energy and then there's the words. Or you might experience that you get a flash of insight into something and it just comes like that, bang, and then we translate it into words, talking to someone or writing it down, and maybe a sentence or 3 sentences or 5 sentences. So all of those ideas just came in a flash. That's when we picked up on that energy. So this is our mental energy, and it's quite possible to tune into these and to feel these different bodies. So here's our mental energy, our mental body. And then we have particularly our soul body, our more individual spirit. This energy extends out further. This is why people who are very connected with spirit, maybe spiritual teachers of any kind of teaching, you can feel that they're really radiating a strong energy, and that energy can fill a whole room, and it can inspire people, and it can help people to resonate and to feel that energy within themselves. So being in the company of people who have a strong spiritual energy can give one a real lift into that space, into that kind of feeling as well, because they're radiating that energy outwards. So these are the 4 parts of ourselves, and it's good to understand all 4 parts of ourselves, and also how these different parts affect each other. As I was saying, what's happened in kind of modern Western thinking is that these have become divided up. Well, there's the physical body, and then there's the spirit. Well, the church or spiritual teachings deal with the spirit. The physical body, medicine and exercise and so on deals with the physical body. Psychiatrists, counsellors, etc., deal with the emotional side or the mental side, etc. But of course, these are all greatly affecting each other. So we can go in this direction. The physical body, what's happening in the physical body, has a big effect on how we're feeling emotionally. And I'm going to go into this a bit more on the second video, where I'm going to focus on looking at the power of food to maintain health, to heal illness, and as part of our personal development as well. So what is happening with our physical body has a big effect on our emotions. If we're holding a lot of tension in the body, we easily become irritable, frustrated, bad-tempered, angry. If we're lacking energy in our body, if our energy is depleted, we easily become more fearful, cautious, underconfident. Oriental medicine goes into amazing detail. If there are imbalances in certain organs, then we tend to get particular emotions, low kidney energy, more fear, anxiety, a lot of tension in the liver. We tend to feel more frustration, anger, want to control situations, want to be very pushy, driven. If there are things happening with our heart, we're used to talking about our heart in Western culture. We talk, we know we have a lot of feelings in our heart. If there imbalances in the heart, this may affect our heartfelt feelings, our ability to connect, to feel love with other people. So establishing physical health is an important way of creating emotional health as well. Of course, it also goes the other way. all of us are emotional eaters to some extent. We eat according to our emotions, sometimes to express our emotion, to suppress our emotions, I meant to say, or sometimes to emphasize certain emotions. You know, if we're a little bit of alcohol or something light can increase our joy, you know, for example. So our emotional makeup can, which then determines, you know, how we eat and what we do, can then have a big physical impact. Other examples, if we have learned to suppress our emotions a lot during our upbringing in life as a survival strategy, then this can have a big effect on the throat. It can create a lot of tension in the neck, back of the neck, around the throat. It can affect the thyroid gland. It can create tension in the jaw, which can then create tooth grinding and tooth problems, you know, etc. So, you know, our emotions are inside our body and over time can have a big effect, especially strongly held emotions. Then what's happening in our physical body and our emotions affect our thinking, our thoughts. If we're very tense, then we may become impatient. We think it's very important that people are punctual and everything's on time and well organized, and we may go towards emphasizing more discipline and structure in life. You know, for example, if we're more depleted, then we may feel more of a victim in life. We may feel overwhelmed in life and have thoughts like that. Our physical body also has effect on our spirituality and our spiritual connection. Very well known in many traditional cultures that if you want to develop your spiritual connection, your spiritual perception, it's good to eat a lighter plant-based diet, less heavy animal foods, which which brings more into our physical body. Also, the more we're connected with spirit, with our soul, this brings energy down. It informs our thinking, it informs our emotions, and also nourishes our physical body. You may have experienced that when you're feeling spirited, and you're really doing what you're deeply passionate about, you're living from your soul, you might say, you have tons of energy. You don't need to eat, to drink very much. You're just filled with energy because you're being inspired by your soul. So these are all very connected. So in all of our courses, what is based in the Oriental philosophy of medicine, with various Western ideas brought in as well, which is naturally holistic. So we're studying how. We're studying ourselves on these different levels, how we can improve our health on these different levels, how when we work on one level, how it really helps us on the other levels. So our courses are really designed to empower you. Our firm belief is that our health is primarily in our own hands, and the best investment we can make is learning how to look after our physical, emotional, mental and spiritual health. So the next video that I'm going to focus more on food, which has a very big effect not only on our physical body but all through our emotional, mental and spiritual selves as well, and look at the power of food in maintaining our health, in healing illness and in our personal development. Thank you very much.